Good morning, everyone. On today's show, we talk about my day one impressions of Starfield from yesterday, as well as how excited I am to keep playing the game today. In addition, let's recap what was arguably my best Street Fighter 6 stream ever, and we've got some very interesting game news regarding a strike in the gaming industry. All this and more on today's Level 1 podcast. Alrighty, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the show. I hope that you are as excited as I am for the rest of this week. What a day yesterday. What a great way to start the streaming week with all kinds of fun stuff. A new release, an epic Street Fighter stream, just good stuff all around. And I am pumped to continue on with this week with all of you. Today is Saturday, the 2nd of September, 2023. And I hope that you all are in good spirits and ready to continue on with some epic gaming goodness today. Today, thankfully, should be more fun exploration and interesting RPG throwback chill. No Street Fighter today, which is a good thing, I'll be honest. Although yesterday's Street Fighter stream was one of my best ever, which we'll talk about in a moment, I'm not kidding you, I hurt my shoulder pretty bad playing. I got pretty agitated because I was really pushing towards hitting Master, and I ended up going almost an extra hour. And at the end of the night, I was in excruciating pain because, as you know, last week I pinched a nerve in my neck and it hasn't really recovered. It was getting better. And then that Street Fighter stream kind of pushed me completely in the opposite direction. So I'm happy now. I slept and I feel a little bit better now. And I'm happy that for the next couple of days, there's no Street Fighter on the schedule. In fact, it's about 2.5 days that I get to relax from that kind of stressful gameplay and instead have some chill times with all of you here on DSP Gaming. I'm excited for that, obviously, and, I'm ready for the fun. I hope you guys are too. So let's get started, shall we? So, let's talk a little bit about yesterday, because yesterday, as I said, was a pretty epic day of gameplay. First of all, I was coming back from my break, and we had a pretty awesome, podcast with the Phil's Days Off segment and the like, but the really cool thing about yesterday was that it was the beginning of the fall gaming season. I had a new background set up, a new vibe of new release goodness with the release of Starfield and the premiere here on DSP Gaming, 3 hours of, the intro of the game. And basically, everyone was hyped for different reasons. Some people were really hyped because they love Bethesda games. Some people were hyped because they wanted to see a new Xbox exclusive. Some people were hyped because they thought the game wasn't going to be that good, and they liked to see, I guess, things burned down to the ground. I don't know. Like, everyone was in it kind of for a different reason. For me, as you know, I am a fan of open world Bethesda RPGs. I love the Fallout series. I love the Elder Scrolls series. And this is the first new IP that they've pumped out in so damn long that it's always a cool thing to explore something brand new, especially at release. So, for me, it was kind of an experiment. Let's explore. Let's see exactly what this world entails. What's different and what's similar to previous Bethesda games. And kind of chalk up my initial thoughts. And it was a good stream. We had a ton of viewers. We had a lot of engagement and support for that initial stream. I was very pleased, obviously, with how it went, with the amount of people that came out. I would hope, today being day 2, more people will even come, because today we'll get past that intro segment and probably get more into the meat of the game. But undoubtedly what happens is not that. People only care about the first impression. And I said this so many times over the years. If you have a video game and the initial hours are boring because you decided to have a slow start, you are shooting yourself in the foot. because today the vast majority of people who play video games are looking for something good right away to hook them so they will want to continue to be entertained by that game. If you take 20 hours to get to something good in your game, you've messed up. And I think a lot of game devs have lost their way. More and more over the last several years, we've seen games like that, incredibly slow starts. I mean, remember last year, Dying Light 2? There was literally nothing fun in Dying Light 2 until like hour 20 or hour 15 when you get to the city. By then, who cares about the game, right? Look at Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. You got an interesting intro, and then immediately you're thrown into an open world where you don't know which way to go. You don't really know what to do, and if you go the wrong way, you just get slapped around by overpowered enemies. It's frustrating. How about you just tell me what to do so I'm not wasting my first 5 to 10 hours of your game going in the wrong direction? So, that's what I mean. These game devs today don't seem to know exactly how to hook a gamer anymore. I mean, I remember playing a game like BioShock. Do you remember BioShock? Do you remember how within the first 10 fucking minutes you are riveted and you cannot wait to play more of the game and see what's going to unfold? Just because of good writing, good atmosphere. You know, what happened to that in modern video games? I just don't get how they've missed that note of how to hook a player, right? Mass Effect 1. Dude, so interesting within the first few minutes. You're like, wow, it's freaking Star Trek with a cool action base. This is excellent. What happened to great games? I just, it makes me scratch my head. So, I was pretty on the fence about what Starfield was going to be. Let's put it that way. Okay? So, let me tell you. Let me give you my experience with Starfield. Okay? Initially, the story is not that interesting, but within the first half an hour, it gets a little bit better. Then you get some action, your first gunplay. All right? Then you're off to a planet to attack a base and loot and lockpick and do a lot of these elements that are going to be core gameplay elements of the game for the very first time. And then you get thrown into your first major city and you get immersed in the city. So if you want to know the truth, I actually don't think the intro is that bad. I think some people say, oh, it's a slow start, it's not good. Personally, I didn't have a problem with it. Like, I thought it was all right. For me, this is on par with the start of, say, any Fallout game. Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4. It kind of reminds me of the start of a Fallout game. So to me, I'm kind of used to this kind of a start in a game, and I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was entertaining. I'm actually hooked. We're actually in the middle of a story segment right now that's explaining what's going on with this group called Constellation, who you're now, it looks like, going to be working for, at least for this part of the game. Exploring the galaxy, looking for artifacts and things, and trying to solve some kind of an ongoing mystery. It seemed intriguing to me. I mean, a little far-fetched. Do you really think that in real life, that within, an hour, a couple hours of finding an artifact in a mine, someone's going to land on your planet looking for it, get chased by space pirates, you fight off the space pirates, and because of that, they give you their spaceship and say, hey, go meet up with the people who I work for. My spaceship is now yours. I'll stay behind. Like, what? That'd be like someone driving to your house and just giving you their car. Here, just take my car. It's yours now. What the fuck are you talking about? What? You're out of your mind. Oh, by the way, I have a robot companion also who's yours now, too, named Vasco. Actually, I think it's Vasco, like Vasco da Gama, the explorer. I think that's what it's supposed to be. It's not Vasco. It's Vasco, like Vasco da Gama. So, I just found the intro a little far-fetched, but at the same time, it was entertaining. I'm not complaining about the story element at this point. We're way too early in. If anything, the gunplay is very similar to Fallout 4, only now that's the focus. Where Fallout 4 basically had a lot of mixed RPG elements with VATS and everything. In this game, it's mostly just first-person shooter gunplay style. I guess there's a cover system that I didn't even know about yet because the game didn't really explain it. So I guess I'm going to have to learn that because I didn't use that yesterday. Right off the bat, you're looting like crazy. You're finding ridiculous amounts of items in the environment. You're like, what's useful, what's not? And apparently, based on your build, some items will be useful and some won't. Like, some people are saying that the food items are completely worthless unless you have the gastronomer perk, and then you can use that to build healing items out of all the food items by making, like, dishes, cooking, which is interesting. So, yeah, right off the bat, it's you feel at home. If you've played Bethesda RPGs before, you're going to feel at home playing Starfield because it feels like I've played this already, only it does feel a little different. It feels like they've refined it, and they definitely mixed it up a little bit. So, hold on. Hold on one second. Looks like I got logged out of one of my things. I just got to get it logged back in. Just wait for it to update here. Okay, so. Basically, after having played the game for about 3 hours, we ended up inside of a really awesome, huge city called New Atlantis, which is the first major hub city of the game. And it seems pretty interesting. There's a lot to do there. You know, everything looks vibrant and interesting. Unlike other hub cities in other Bethesda RPGs, this one seems like almost everything has a story to it. The moment we walked in, there were NPCs standing around talking about story elements. We were like, oh, I wonder if this will be like a side quest later in the game. That'd be pretty neat if you literally just stumbled upon a quest moments into walking into this city. So yeah, so I was pretty entertained with the game so far. Now, here's the thing. A couple realistic criticisms, okay? Number one, the graphics. They run at 30 frames per second or below, and I will emphasize that, or below. There are definitely times when the frame rate chugs, and you're like, now, wait a minute. It's 2023, and a modern AAA game developer can't get a game to run at solid 30 or even 60? I guess not. And this is what's hilarious to me, is that we still have people talking about, oh, I want a more powerful console to push 4K graphics or whatever. And I'm like, 4K? These games can't even run at 30 frames per second at 1080p yet. And you want 4K across the board with insanely high detail? What are you, stupid? No. Demand that we get good performance on every single game at 1080p first. Once we've jumped that hurdle, once we've crossed that river, then we tackle higher resolution and more detail. They can't even do the basic shit yet. And we are in 2023. This was promised to us at the beginning of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 era. We are almost a decade later, and they haven't done it yet. So, that being said, all right, I do feel that the graphics are underwhelming. Not the detail. I think that the universe looks fine. The level of detail looks fine. But the fact that it runs at a lower frame rate is disappointing. I want it to feel like, more organic, more real. I want it to look like other games I'm playing. It literally does not. Like, almost every single game that I have played in the last year has looked much better than Starfield. And that's disappointing. To have waited this long for this game, for it to come out, and it doesn't look good. That's very, very underwhelming. And I think, if anything, that's the one thing that they should fix. And likely they will, because how much do you want to bet? Much like with other Bethesda games. When future consoles come out, they will likely remaster this game and release it in full 60 frames, and then it'll be amazing. But for now, we're stuck in a 25 to 30 frame per second era, which is really stupid, okay? The other criticism I have of the game so far, 3 hours in, it doesn't feel like there's one new element. Seriously, now you say, oh, what about the ship? Well, I mean, I flew it a little bit. It's not a big deal. Mostly what the ship is, it's fast traveling between locations and a few dogfights, but it's nothing significant yet. Maybe it will be significant as we get further into the game, but as of now, I haven't really done much with it yet. Outside of that, the gunplay feels like it's from Fallout 4 or other FPS games. The loot system absolutely feels like it's from a Bethesda game. Everything feels like a mishmash of something you've done before. Nothing in this game is feeling unique to me whatsoever. Not yet, anyway. Maybe it will again as we get further in. I'm only 3 hours in. But, when you're having a brand new IP, you want it to feel like you're truly playing something new. This kind of feels like the evolution of what Bethesda has done in the past, which is fine. It does feel like the culmination of all the work these guys have done in the last 25 years. Like, this is what they were going for, and this is what they wanted the end game to be. But it still kind of feels just like a Bethesda RPG to me, which, again, is fine if you like them, and I do. So that's not a complaint. But if you're playing this insanely hyped, brand new IP, it's supposed to be the game that everyone wants to buy an Xbox Series S or X for, you should be doing something more groundbreaking. And it just doesn't feel like that yet. But I'm 3 hours in, all right? So the good news is I'm playing a lot more of this. And to answer some questions, because I actually got some pretty valid questions yesterday. People were like, Phil, it's a brand new game. It's hyped. Why did you only play it one stream? A lot of the times when a hot new game comes out, you play it all day long. Is there a particular reason why you opted to not play Starfield all day yesterday? The answer is pretty simple, because Starfield is an incredibly lengthy game, and I'm going to be playing it a lot. The next few weeks, it's my major focus. I'm playing it yesterday and today is the main stream. Tomorrow night, I'm playing it as the late night stream. I am giving it a break on Monday, but it's the major stream on Tuesday. And if you want it again, I'm going to play it as the major stream on Wednesday. So with all of that gameplay, I mean, it really is the major focus of the week. I don't want to go too crazy and go overloaded, you see? So I figured balancing it with other things every day makes sense, as opposed to, you know, if I knew I wasn't going to be playing it that much this week after the first few days, because there's other things going on, then I probably would have played it all day. But the fact that I do have the opportunity to play it a ton this week, that's why, you know, I didn't do that, okay? So, let me tell you guys something. In the last 24 hours, I've been absolutely bombarded with information about this game. Luckily, no spoilers, which is good. But I've been thrown so many pieces of information. Someone wants me to rename my character Phil, because apparently if you do that, Vasco will actually call you Phil in the game. Phil is one of the names the game will use as an audio thing. And they're like, all right, Fart Knocker's funny or whatever, but change your name to Phil, and that way, you know, the game will actually call you Phil during your playthrough, right? You know, again, I'm getting recommended all these different things I should be doing. That gastronomy is super useful, and I should get it as soon as possible. And then other people are like, actually, don't go crazy getting a million perks. Focus only on a few small ones, but level them up big time. Because if you, like, level up speech and you level up the lockpicking, like, it's going to help you tons in the game. But what a lot of people are doing is they're playing, sadly, they're getting way too many perks, but then they're all at level 1 and they're not very useful. People need to level up the perks and focus more on that, and that makes them more useful. So, you know, basically, yeah, I'm getting a lot of different pieces of recommendations and pieces of information, and people are, you know, saying different things. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's good, but I feel like I'm so early in that it's just information overload. You know what I'm saying? Like, so many people trying to throw information at me in the first 24 hours when I've only played it 3 hours, that most of it is not going to be that helpful to me right now. But maybe long term it will be, right? So we'll see how it goes today. I mean, I'm excited. You know, right now we are in New Atlantis. We are exploring the Constellation Compound, and we're going to do that, and then we're going to continue with the story, and I'm going to continue to explore, because some people are like, don't leave New Atlantis, explore the whole place. Oh, I will. Like, this is the first major city in the game. I absolutely want to give it time to explore it and see what I can find. I'm being told that almost every major NPC with a name has a story behind them, and will either tell you a unique, interesting story, or will give you a quest. So I would love to do that, to go through the whole, you know, city and explore. Maybe today the whole day will be New Atlantis. Who knows, right? And if it is, I don't feel like that's a waste. I feel like that's exploring what the game's going to be, all right? So we'll see how it goes today, all right? We'll go from there, and it should be a good, chill day of Starfield fun, I hope, right? So far, I've liked the first 3 hours. It's par for the course for Bethesda, and I'm looking forward to more. So I hope that you will join me after this podcast ends for 3 more hours of Starfield fun, okay? Should be a good time. Cool. Now, let's talk a little bit about last night's late night stream. That was an absolutely wild Street Fighter 6 stream. I was not expecting that stream to be that crazy, all right? So you might be like, well, what happened? I don't get it. It's Friday Night Fights. You were just playing with Blanca, right? So here's what happened. First of all, my goal, as you know, in Street Fighter 6 was to get Blanca back to Master Rank. I had earned Master Ranking with him on the Xbox on August 3rd. But then I switched to PlayStation 5 over the course of August, and I reset my rank. So I had to go all the way from the bottom of the Platinum ranks all the way back up to Master. And it was going to take a long-ass time to do so, okay? So, while I was doing that, I had also decided that I wanted to continue to play with E Honda, who I had just started playing with on Xbox. And within one session, I had gotten him to like 2 to 3 star diamond on Xbox. So I said, you know what I should do is I should play with both of these characters and alternate between them, get better with them, and try to get them both to Master. So I've been doing that. Right now my Honda is at 5 star diamond and will be getting pushed to Master very soon. But my Blanca was in 4 star diamond. And so last night I was like, all right, my goal is to hit 5 star diamond and then to win a few more matches. And then probably another stream or two will hit Master. It depends on how hard it goes or how hard it gets, because A lot of these people at the top level of Diamond, they're tryhards. They're trying so hard to get to Master, and they can't do it because they're pattern playing idiots. They don't understand Street Fighter. They literally learned one pattern with a top tier character, and they just do it ad nauseum. They will never get to Master doing that. They won't. They need to learn the game, and they refuse. Instead, they just think, well, if I don't understand, I just keep doing the same pattern over and over. Eventually, I'll grind my way up. And sadly, I hate to say it, a lot of people have. I've heard that people, get this, people with as low as a 20% win-loss ratio. That means when they play, they only win 20% of the time. So they could have played 1,000 matches and only won 200. I've heard that those people are hitting Master now. That the game has become so grindy that you can grind your way to Master without ever really winning. Which is pretty ridiculous. If you play enough, you just get there. That's pretty stupid. But anyway, so last night, alright, I started playing with Blanka. And basically, I've learned enough strategies with Blanka at this point that I am, for the most part, coasting through most people I play, with a few exceptions. Every once in a while, I'll actually play someone good, and I'm shocked because I almost never do. I'm just being honest. At this point, even in 5-star Diamond, it's rare when I'm playing against someone who actually understands competitive fighting games. They all just learn patterns and play very simplistic, simpleton gameplay, but it works because it's online, you get away with it, and it's just simpleton bullshit, and you just got to guess your way out of it unless you have a top-tier character, which I'm not using. So, when I fight rare good players, it makes my jaw drop. So yesterday, I played Nephew. If you don't know, Nephew is actually one of the best players in the world right now. They are one of the best juries in the game. And they got 3rd place at that CPT qualifier that just took place like last week. And they're using JP now. They're trying to learn JP. Dude, that Nephew learning JP, and that's their secondary character, was the best JP I have fought in Street Fighter 6. Out of the 3+ months I've been playing this game, that was the one person I played who actually did not play pattern JP. That person was on reaction, locking me down, seeing what I was doing, and counter hitting me out of all of my strategies. And I was blown away impressed. I was like, that's the kind of gameplay you will see, hopefully, when you get these characters to Master level, and then you'll actually learn the game better. Because right now, I'll be honest, a lot of the things that I'm doing are tricks and mix-ups that likely won't work at a top level. At the same time, at top level, people won't do scrubby shit like mash drive impact. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot different. He was super duper good. That's what I mean. People say, well, Phil, you're toxic because when you play Street Fighter, you just don't give credit. No. I give credit where credit is due. That player, Nephew, is super duper good. You respect the game when you see it played at a high level. Not, oh, I mashed a fucking pattern over and over and over and I got away with it because I'm playing online. This guy was super good. So that guy gets nothing but props from me. It was a good match. We went a little back and forth. He beat my ass. He did quit after one match, but it was super fun. I was actually sad he quit after the one match. I was like, dude, I would love to keep playing with this guy because that's how I will learn the game at a better level, is by playing better people, okay? So I played him about halfway into my stream, and I got a bunch of win streaks, and then every once in a while, I got interrupted by a fucking shitty-ass Ken spamming their stupid pattern bullshit, and because I'm Blanka, I don't really have a way out of it, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is so stupid, right? But the cool thing about it is I'm making way more progress than I thought I was going to. You know, I was thinking I'll hit 5-star Diamond, and then I'll get a few wins, and that'll be it. No, I was actually, like, cruising. I was getting great set wins. I was playing much better. I was, you know, landing juggles, mix-ups, tricks, combos. Some people were getting completely dominated because they don't even... Again, 5-star Diamond players don't understand basic mix-ups and things. They just don't understand the game because they play their pattern. And if you throw them out of their pattern, they have no clue how to play it. They're just completely rattled, and they just lose. They fold like a deck of cards because they don't know how to play the game. So... I'm doing well, and I'm almost at Master. And then the game starts handing me hefty piles of horse shit. Ken who just spams, and my moves aren't coming out. You know, it was like 2 or 3 matches like that where I was like, if I win this set, I'll hit Master. And then I would lose. Oh, come on. So I ended up sticking around almost an extra hour. Problem is, I really shouldn't have done that. Because, you know, my shoulder is killing me. Right now, it still hurts really bad. It's a little better than yesterday, but it still hurts really bad. I'm trying to heal this injury that I got in my neck. and I shouldn't have went crazy like I did. Really, I shouldn't have. Okay, but I got into it. You know me, when I get into something, I get committed, and I just want to keep going till I do it. And I'm like, dude, if I just commit myself, I'm gonna get master tonight. I'm gonna get master tonight. So finally, I get to the match. If I win this match, I'm gonna hit master. Ladies and gentlemen, last night they put me in a match against Snake Eyes, the best Zangief in the world. He is #1 ranked. He just won the CPT West qualifiers with Zangief. He knows every single matchup in the game with Zangief. My God, again, eye-opening gameplay. And by the way, it wasn't a dominating match. It was a fun match back and forth. It was pretty good. But, dude, he was amazing. Just to give you some perspective, all right? I jumped at him with Blanca. I did a meaty, heavy standing roundhouse, which even if he did his anti-air, probably would have traded. He did one tiny step backward. A tiny micro step backward. And his foot, of Blanca's foot, went ooh, and just barely missed. And as I was landing in the recovery, he did a 360 and caught me with a spinning power. I was like, this man has absolutely mastered this character. He knew the nuances, a micro step backward to make me miss and punish with the 360. I haven't even seen that in any Street Fighter game before. And I've played competitive Street Fighter since the 1990s. I've never seen someone understand spacing that well before. That was truly inspiring gameplay. And I was like, again, I wish I could play players like that all the time. That would make me a better player, right? So it was a fun match. It was a little back and forth. He beat me pretty resoundingly, but at least I burned him out, and we were taking some health off of him and everything. It was a good match. But he quit after it because he was in Master. I mean, he's one of the highest ranked Master players there are. He was grinding Master points. That was he was streaming at the time. He was just grinding Master points. I was like, epic fight. So I got to play Nephew, and I got to play Snake Eyes in one stream. That's pretty awesome. You get to play two top players in the game in one damn stream, right? So then I went on and I said, all right, now I'm definitely committed to playing this and getting Master tonight. And I played for like another 25 minutes, and I did it. I got Master with Blanca. And I was like, oh, finally. So it took almost a month, because I actually got Master with Blanca on August 3rd on the Xbox. And it took me about a month. And now I got Master with him on PlayStation 5. Okay? So now immediately people are like, oh, well, when are you playing with Blanca again? And I'm like, wait, what? Like, what? I just played with Blanca all month. Grinded to Master. Don't you want to see me go to other characters now? You want Blanca again? And people are like, well, yeah, you're in Master. Now we want you to play more Blanca and play more Master players. I'm like, all right, listen. The good news is now, Blanca's not going anywhere. He's going to stay at Master. Whenever I play, I'll be playing higher level people now. All right? So I want to give him a rest for a bit. I want to focus now on getting Honda to Master. Honda's in 5-star Diamond. He's almost there. Probably another couple of streams. Hopefully he'll hit Master. And then Honda will be there, right? And then we can say, all right, well, who has I used who I really liked and I wanted to use more, but I just haven't used him in a million years? Well, Luke is absolutely one who I was doing well with, and I was learning, and then I haven't used him in over a month. So it'd be great to get back to that, and I know it's going to take grinding and learning because I haven't done even basic combos with him in a million years, right? So I'm going to try, probably Luke would be next. Lily I really like, but I do think she's one of the worst characters in the game. But I do like the build, and perhaps if I actually learn her at a good level, I could actually do well. I honestly think that she, overall, if I learn her, might be better for me than Honda. Because Honda has so many limitations, he gets thrown out of everything. I don't think she will. But once again, at the same time, she has no way to get out of a corner. Luke does. So I guess we got to figure this out. We'll see. But basically, my next agenda with Street Fighter 6 is getting Honda to Master. And then once Honda and Blanca are Masters, then we can say, all right, let's play with other characters for a while. Let's mix it up. Let's do something different instead of the same characters for a month, which we just did. Right? Okay? All right. So, there you go. That's what we're working on. It was an epic stream. Like, seriously, it was one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Street Fighter 6 stream I've done. Because not only did I get tons of wins and did I hit Master, but I was also able to play pro players, which was super fun. You know, whenever you play a pro player and you see the difference between the gameplay you've been doing up to that point and the pro level gameplay, that's, you know, it blows you away. So, hold on one second, because I'd like to get my updated stats here. It is absolutely official that we had hit 2,500 wins, all right? So, when I played last night, I had 46 wins and 22 losses, 68% win-loss ratio. I hit Master a second time, so my second Master obtained now. There it is. There's where I switched over. Yeah, I'm looking now. So basically, it took me, get this, it took me 14 sessions of gameplay to get to Master on Xbox. It only took me, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 sessions to hit Master on PS5. So 14 versus 6, that's a dramatic improvement, right? And my gameplay with Blanka is pretty good now. It's not top level. The one thing I don't implement with Blanka is his level 2 super. Once I learn how to implement his level 2 super, I'm essentially doing everything the top players are doing, all right? But I need to implement that level 2 super, and I'm not doing that yet. But outside of that, my gameplay is really good at this point. Like, I'm really countering stuff and mixing people up and locking them down. It's pretty darn good, okay? So, overall, 2,565 wins, 1,660 losses for a 61% win rate, which is pretty darn good. Again, I find it hilarious that there are people who have hit, if you can believe it, Master ranking, and they have a 20% win-loss ratio. Yes, it's true. A fucking 20% win-loss ratio in their Master players. Because they just grinded enough that overall they finally got enough points to get up there. It's like, well, those will be the people that I'll be getting free points from. That's for sure. Right? Seriously. Okay. Anyway, so that's my Street Fighter segment for the day. Now we give it a break. I'm not playing, I am not playing Street Fighter 6 again until Monday night. And when I play Monday night, it will be Honda. It will be ranked. And we'll try to get Honda up to Master. I don't think it'll happen. We are 5-star Diamond. But I don't think it'll happen Monday night with Honda. The wins are a lot less frequent. And it's a lot harder to grind against the top tiers. So we'll see. But maybe by the end of this week. Okay? All right. Exactly. Dabhan says you get more points for winning than you lose for losing. Anyone will get there if you play enough. It's Saturday. No, I mean, why it's disappointing is because, as you know, I've really been trying to keep a good win-loss ratio. I think 61% is great for someone like me. I'm not a pro player. I haven't played competitive Street Fighter in the longest time. For me to say that I got like a 61% of the time I'm winning is really good. That's, you know, and keep in mind, that's keeping all my low-end gameplay that I didn't know what I was doing, and I was getting spanked by people left and right with other characters, and that's factored in. It's not like, oh, that's only my serious characters. That's everyone overall. Still 61% is great. You know, pro players probably are getting 80-some%. That would be my guess, that a pro player, probably 80% of the time they're winning, okay? That's great to me. But I feel like there should be a reward for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, maybe you should only be able to hit Master if you have a certain win-loss ratio. I don't know. I think right now the grind is real and people could just sit there grinding, playing nonstop and get to Master by scrubbing it out. That's pretty stupid. I told you guys, you heard the new statistic? Over 20% of the people in Master rank are Ken. And they all play Pattern Ken. They're not good. They're just Pattern Ken players who scrubbed it out and got to Master by scrubbing it out playing top-tier Pattern bullshit. It's pretty pathetic. Over a fifth of the players of the game are Ken. Anyway, all right, so enough of my Street Fighter segment. All right, let's get out of there. Let's talk about the schedule for the week, and then let's do a little bit of game news. We got an interesting news story to cover today. And then we will do some shout-outs and interaction, as usual, okay? Cool. So, schedule for the week. Today, it is Starfield. 3 more hours as we explore New Atlantis. And if we do anything else, I don't know, because New Atlantis seems pretty interesting, but we'll see where the game takes us. Should be a fun stream, fun interactions with you guys. Thanks for chilling. I hope you guys will stick around and enjoy Starfield with me. Tonight on the late stream, it is the continuation of Chrono Trigger at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. And we are in some of the most interesting parts of the game. Why? The protagonist is not part of the game right now, which is a twist in the plot. And instead, you get to open explore the rest of the game, and you get to do all these optional missions. We've already done the optional mission for Luca, but now I believe we're about to start the optional mission for Frog. We already found the optional mission for Robo. Oh yeah, and we also did the optional mission for Magus. So we still have one for Marl, and we still have one for Ayla. So we still have all these optional missions to do, and they're fun, and they have great rewards and great loot and epic boss fights. So I'm excited to do these with you guys for the next couple of streams of Chrono Trigger. It should be really good. I hope you guys will join me tonight if you like retro throwback RPGs. For those who are saying, well, what about Sea of Stars? I'm interested in it. Let's finish Chrono Trigger first, and then perhaps we'll start Sea of Stars. We'll see. Okay? All right. Tomorrow, it is my React show, DSP versus the Internet, where we watch clips that the members have submitted. And for the first time, we have more members on DSP Reacts than ever before, over 150. So I'm very curious to see what you guys have submitted for the show. Tonight, I'll be making that playlist. So if you are a member over on my sister channel, DSP Reacts, and you have not yet nominated clips for tomorrow's show, you gotta hurry. Those clips must be submitted by the end of my Chrono Trigger stream, because once the Chrono Trigger stream ends, that's when I'm going to head over, and I'm going to make the playlist for tomorrow's show. Okay? So get on it. Don't be late. Don't miss out. Post up your clips, all right? So that's the first stream tomorrow over on the Reacts channel. That's youtube.com/@DSPReacts if you haven't checked it out yet. It's a fun channel. I do that show once a week, plus other React content. I hope you'll give it a look. And then, tomorrow night, it is more Starfield. We're actually going to do a late night stream of Starfield, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. Monday, it'll be the return of Armored Core 6, which I'm really enjoying. After having played 6 hours, I now have a cool double miniguns build. I need to get some better rocket launchers and better other things, you know, for my mech as well. But I'm having a great time with the game so far. I actually can't wait for more. Had a great time against the Baltius boss fight. And then another epic boss at the end of that last stream. So, all that coming on Monday. More of that fun, okay? Monday night, more Chrono Trigger. Oh, no, excuse me. Monday night is Street Fighter 6. Ranked matches with Honda. As we try to push him to master rank, okay? Tuesday, more Starfield on the main stream. And Tuesday night will be more Chrono Trigger. Wednesday's up in the air. And what do I mean by that? Listen, I know this is launch week for Starfield. I know a lot of people will want a lot of Starfield. At the same time, at that point, I'll only played Armored Core once for the whole week. So I'm going to basically try to gauge your interest. If more people want Armored Core, I'll play Armored Core on Wednesday. If more people want Starfield, instead, I'll play Starfield on Wednesday. Okay? And then Wednesday night, we'll think about it. It could be Street Fighter 6 ranked again. It could be something else. Basically, Wednesday is the open day, which I'm happy that it's open like that, and I can change the schedule however I want to be whatever I want. I like having a day like that. All right? So we'll see what happens. But Wednesday, whatever you guys, you know, decide on will be what we play. Fair enough. And that's my final streaming day of the week. I'm off on Thursday. The good news is next week, there's nothing new. Next week, that whole second week of September, there's nothing new going on. So we focus and continue to focus on Starfield, on Armored Core 6, right? And all kinds of stuff. All right? So good stuff coming up. I'm very excited for all the new gameplay and everything coming up in the next couple of weeks. And then, of course, middle of the month, that's when we're going to get new releases like Lies of P and Mortal Kombat 1 coming. Okay? Cool. Night, I had a giant segment about Armored Core 6 the other day. You obviously missed it. I addressed everything you're saying in the chat. Go watch that podcast from a couple days ago. You'll get all your answers. So there you go. And by the way, I directly addressed what you said, and I agree with you. So there you go. Okay. Cool. So, got the schedule done. Okay. News. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a little segment I like to call DSPN, also known as DSP Gaming News. Fresh hot off the presses, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. Are you ready? Now, admittedly today I don't have that much to talk about. We have one gaming news story, but it's actually a doozy. It's a really big one. All right, are you ready for this? Some of the biggest news ever to come out of the gaming industry this morning. So, for the first time ever, voice actors and performance actors, meaning mocap, you know, when you put those suits on, the balls and the sensors, and you're doing the mocap for a game, and you're doing the voiceovers, and you're playing the characters, essentially the acting group. For the first time ever, they may go on strike. SAG-AFTRA, who is the Screen Actors Guild, this is the union where all the actors are a part of, okay, has essentially voted, approved, and advised that basically all voice actors and mocap actors should go on strike, along with everyone else who is already on strike. If you guys aren't aware, actors and writers are currently on strike in Hollywood. There are no new shows being produced. All of the late night talk shows and daily shows are on hold. Everything is suspended. Movies are not being made or promoted. Everything is frozen because of this big strike. So what is the strike about? Basically, two big issues are going on. Issue number one is that movie studios have found a way to digitize and distribute content over the internet via these subscription services, like Netflix, like Paramount Plus, like what's the other one? Peacock, Amazon Video. We keep going. How many of them are there? HBO Max. Now it's just Max. There's like 20, 30 of these subscription services. So basically what these actors are saying is they're signing contracts, okay, that say, here's your pay, here's your residuals. But for some reason, the contracts are archaic. The contracts are only talking about classic residuals, like movie sales and stuff like that. What they're not talking about is the money that these studios are now making from all of these digital services. So, for example, there's actors coming out saying, wow, my show is the number 2 rated show and number 2 watch show on Netflix. By the way, I made $0 from the Netflix deal. All I got paid was the initial acting fee for the show. And if they make like a DVD of it later, I'll get a cut of that. And I make nothing from anything when it streams on Netflix. 0. How does that make sense? Why does only the producers and the companies that stream make the money and not the people who made it? Why are they not getting a cut of that pie when previously anything that distributed that movie, they made money? They made ticket sales, DVD sales. Why is the digital distribution now being left out? What is going on there? And what it is they're basically, these companies are trying to basically be greedy. They're trying to say, hey, normally these should have been, this should have been something that was fairly negotiated, and they never bring it to the table. They're never offered this anymore. Why do these companies pocket all this digital money, right? So that's number one. That's issue number one, okay? Issue number two is that increasingly when actors are now signing up for any kind of a TV show, a movie, or whatever, they're going into the studio and they're being told, we need to do a digital scan of your body for CGI work, okay? So what happens is they go in and they flag them, and what do they call it? They put the scans, like the dots they put on their face or whatever. So they scan, they map. Oh, it's something about mapping, right? Something mapping they call it. So they scan and map your likeness, okay, to be used in CGI, which is fine if they're using it for the CGI for the movie that you're actually in. But what these actors are actually starting to find is that their CGI likenesses are now starting to be used in other projects that they never authorized and never were paid for. So let's say, for example, you are Johnny Depp and you play Jack Sparrow, okay, in all the Pirates movies. Now, you make a new Pirates movie and they pay a good amount of money for it, so you're pleased, and they scan you when you're making the new Pirates movie. But then Disney decides to make 2 new movies that have nothing to do with the Pirates franchise, but other characters. Like, what if they did a Barbossa movie, okay? So it's a movie just about Barbossa, but all of a sudden Jack Sparrow has a cameo in it, and he shows up for 5 minutes, but it's not Johnny Depp. It's his CGI counterpart that they scanned and they're using it without his permission, just to say their characters in the movie for the 5 minutes. Now, obviously, if they actually had it in for longer than that, you'd know the difference. But that's the point that people are making. There seems to, like, they don't want to pay actors for their work and the likeness. They want them to put all this work into the characters, but then they want to own the character and use it for free later without the actor involved, right? I think that's kind of messed up. I do think that there should be a limit, all right, on how much it's used, or, you know, at least if they're going to use it, well, that was you. We scanned you. That's your likeness. You will get paid every time we use your likeness, right? But they're not doing that. So this is a huge thing. This has been happening in about the last 2 years. These actors are now speaking up, noticing it happening. And they're like, we definitely don't want that. So these are the reasons why the actors are currently on strike. Writers as well. Writers, again, they're writing. They're the ones who make the shows and the movies, and then they're going digital, and they're not getting paid for any digital profits. So that's why everyone in Hollywood is currently on strike. And they've been on strike for what, like 5 months or something like that? And there has been zero movement. Zero. There's been no movement whatsoever from Hollywood. They are not willing to meet and discuss. They don't give a shit. They're like, well, we're hoping is that eventually they will lose so much money by not being able to act or write that they're just going to give in. And they're just going to say, fuck it, well, we need work, so we're just going to come back without having won anything from this big strike. All right? Now, does that sound fair? Does that sound right? People are saying they feel like they're being mistreated and they deserve more, and that these companies are rolling hand over fist in profits from their hard work, and they're not getting appropriately rewarded or paid for it, and they think they should be compensated more. Sounds fair. But not to Hollywood. To these ginormous megala corporations, they don't give two fucks. They think they're so insulated from any kind of criticism or demand for improvement that they can just sit there for 2 years and not pump out any projects and still be fine. I guess we're going to see. Because if you didn't notice, a lot of stuff that we were hearing about has now gone by the wayside and on hold. And if you take a look at all the movie releases for the next year, they're getting sparser and sparser. Take a look at the TV shows. Pretty soon, things are going to start to dry up. There's not going to be anything left in the pipeline to pump out anymore. So what's going to happen is the question. I don't know. Now, the reason I bring this up today is because SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, okay, is now advising that voice actors and mocap performance actors for video games also join the strike. So, for those who don't know, current giant game studios, all right, who have unionized workforces include Activision, Electronic Arts, Epic Games, Take-Two, Insomniac, WB Games, and more. Okay? If all of them decide to go on strike as SAG is calling for, you realize there will not be any new video games out of those studios within a couple of months. Like, essentially, probably everything coming out to the end of the year is fairly done. They don't need any more voice acting work or mocap work for that. It's just the finishing touches that are being put on those games by the game developers. But any game that's currently in development from those studios literally will be on hold indefinitely until something is determined. So here's the thing. We've been talking about workers' rights in the video game industry for years. We've been talking about the philosophy of crunch and how we feel how bad it is, that crunch doesn't solve anything and crunch doesn't necessarily make a game better. It just overworks the workforce and makes, in some ways, a game even worse as corners are cut to try to get a game out in time for a deadline, right? So, I think there should be more unionized, people in the gaming industry. They're starting with the actors, though. They're starting with the voice actors and the mocap performers. Okay, fair enough. I wish that everyone in the gaming industry would be unionized, because really it's those line-level game developers, the ones who are coding, the ones who are putting all that shit together, the visual effects and everything. Those are the ones that are being completely destroyed by this overworking crunch atmosphere. And they're the ones really who I think should be getting more rights. So I guess we'll see what happens. It's unprecedented. This literally has never happened before, where there's been any kind of a union movement in video games. And a lot of people are wondering, essentially, how is this going to affect the games industry? Will it shut down games for years to come? Will we have no new video games coming out for several years for any of these companies who have unionized, right? I mean, it's very possible that these big AAA studios could be frozen and completely shut down because of this strike going on. I guess we'll see what happens, all right? There seem to be people on all different, wavelengths of thought here. So I'll just say, listen, I think that they do deserve more rights. They do deserve more pay for, especially if they're working their asses off, the same amount of work they've always done to pump out a movie or a TV show or a video game. But now you're telling me these methods to distribute these games that these people are not getting paid, but the company behind the financing of the game makes all the money? That sounds pretty underhanded to me. It does, all right? So to me, I'm for the rights of these people. But certainly I'm not someone who has studied the big picture. I'm not someone who understands every aspect of it, what's going on. So I don't want to stand here on a soapbox and start talking about workers' rights and shit like that when I really don't know everything. I'm sure. It's just like everything to everything, there's two sides, correct? There's this person's side, there's that person's side, and then the actual truth of the matter is somewhere in the middle. So unless you actually analyze the whole situation, you'll never understand it. If this continues, if this actually happens, and we get games frozen for years or whatever, we're going to probably be hearing a lot more about this story and the sides of the story, all right? But for now, this is the first inkling we've ever heard about a strike in the game industry. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I really am. Okay. That's what's hot off the DSP news desk today. Not too much to talk about. So, by the way, as you notice, I had a word with that news editor yesterday. That guy was out of line. I don't know what the hell he thought he was doing. So I slapped him around a little bit. And today we got him under control. Okay. So, very nice. I think what we'll do now, we'll move on to the next segment of the show. And the next segment of the show will be shout-outs for those who have contributed. I would like to remind everyone the ways that you can support my content. If you like this show, if you like my gameplay, if you like my React stuff, if you like anything, please support my streams. I'm a person who does not go out of his way to get sponsorships, partnerships, paid product placements. I don't get paid to specifically play any particular game, which is why all of a sudden you don't see me playing an indie game no one ever heard of to make a buck. This is also why I don't run exorbitant amounts of ads on my content. When I stream, I maybe take one ad break, maybe two tops, but it's very rare, all right? For me, it's about the content. I put out meaningful, honest content for you, and you reciprocate by supporting my content. How can you do that? Well, you can like the stream, and you can leave comments. You could watch this video on demand, like the video, and leave comments. All that is called engagement. Engagement puts my channel into the YouTube algorithm. And it allows more people to find this content on YouTube. So please do that for me. Okay? Then, if you'd like to go above and beyond, there are many ways you can support the content. You can do a super chat. You can do a super sticker. These are ways you can contribute live during a stream. You'll get a little bit of a shout out in the chat. And I will actually shout you out as well during the live stream. You can do a super thanks on an on-demand video. And that's a way to actually put a nice promo message there, big colorful message on the video. And it helps out. And I will actually like your comment and sometimes respond to it if I can. You could become a member of the channel or give some memberships to your fellow viewers. Today, this would be a great opportunity because I'm playing so many new games in the next month, including Starfield, Armored Core 6, Lies of P, Mortal Kombat 1, just to name a few. And people would absolutely love to have access to my emotes, to not have to abide by slow mode rules of chat, to have a cool chat crown badge by their name, among many other perks that you get being a member. So please consider becoming a member or gifting a membership to the channel today. Your fellow viewer would definitely appreciate that. Also, if you want to do a direct contribution to the stream, you can tip me. Tipping is a great way to contribute because it goes right through PayPal. It's instant. I can use that money for something very important like paying a bill or buying a game. And I get more of a cut of tips than anything else, just being honest. Everything else is great. It helps. But there's middlemen that take cuts. With PayPal, very little gets taken away. I get the majority of it. Okay? So again, thank you in advance to anyone who contributes in any way to my content. I really appreciate those who go above and beyond to support it. Speaking of which, let's shout out those people right now. Shall we? All right, so we start off today with Orinks, who re-upped his membership for 15 months. Thank you so very much, Orinks, for 15 months of support. Then we've got Mr. Game Master, who did a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Mr. Game Master. And he says, I'm watching some of your Mario Galaxy 1 playthrough from 2021. That game is breathtaking. I haven't played it for 10 years. It gave me dizziness, but now it doesn't. No, I love that game. It's super good. The soundtrack is really good. A lot of the levels are very, very creative and unique and fun. One day I gotta play the sequel. They never remade the sequel, so I want to play it. You know, I heard that the sequel is super good too, so we'll get to it. Hopefully they'll remake it someday. Okay, get this. Someone named Tractor D became a member. Gee, I wonder what that could possibly mean. Tractor D. It sounds familiar. Can't really put my finger on it. Anyway, thank you for the membership. As you guys can see, sadly, once again, we did lose some members overnight. I guess some gifted memberships had expired, so we're down into the 530s. We were at around 550 last night, but hopefully we can get back up there today, right? So Klein Ball Z Deep 69 did 2 super chats, both complaining about unions in the gaming industry, which is hilarious. I don't want to get into it because, again, I just don't really know much about the true full story of what's going on. I'm just reporting the facts. You know, if this story goes further, perhaps we'll look deeper into that. But thank you for the super chats. I appreciate that. But we're not going to get into a big debate and discussion about it now, especially when I don't have all the information. Okay? Okay. On the tip side of things, our first contribution of today is a $2 tip from B-Boy Cyclone. He says, I have stayed on the first planet where you land. I explored the planet. I discovered a terraformer. Oh, he discovered the monster that killed the scientists. He also found other things like a rebel base. He found some cool items and armor and caves with minerals. Yeah, listen to this. He says, I would recommend staying and exploring on planets for loot mini bosses and alien artifacts. Interesting. See, for me, I don't really want to do that, and here's why. I felt like I want to at least get the story rolling so we kind of know what's going on. Before we start doing full investigation. And the thing is, we could easily go back there, right? It's not a big deal. But I just feel like I didn't want to spend too much time in this incredibly early intro segment because I wanted to get to at least the start of the meat of the story so that gets you hooked. Like right now, the story's getting interesting. It's hooking me. What's going on in this main story, right? If I had spent 7 hours on the first planet with no story element whatsoever, I probably would be pretty bored. I'll be honest with you. You know, it seems like gameplay for gameplay's sake, but I hear you. It seems like that's the kind of game this is where you're going to be able to explore everything and do a ton of content, which is fine. So, you know, I may go back. We'll see. Today, I definitely want to focus on New Atlantis. So, okay. Alrighty. I received a $1.50 tip from Beaver Bother, who says, why are you afraid to play master matches? I'm not. The problem is it takes so long to get to master. As you saw, that was a solid month of grinding to get to master, right? So now, I'm tired of playing with Blanca. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am absolutely going to go and play at higher level with Blanca, for sure. But I'm tired of him now. Like, I just played with him 6+ streams, right? Hundreds and hundreds of wins to get back to master. I'm Blanca'd out. I actually want to learn different things about the game. I actually want to... I'll be honest, I think I want to play with Luke next. I think I want to mess with Luke and try to learn a top-tier character. It's like I said when I was doing my weekly community nights. It was weird because when I was playing with either Honda or Blanca or Zangief, you never really feel like safe. When I play with Luke, I feel safe because no one can fucking come at me. If they do, I can either mash jab and beats everything, or I can just fucking drive rush and it's safe, or I can uppercut. So I have like 3 completely safe strategies because I'm a top tier character. So that's what I mean. Like if I utilize that kind of gameplay with Luke, perhaps I will, you know, get myself boosted up to an even higher level in the game. But that's the thing. Like variety is the spice of life, correct? I'm tired of playing with the same characters. Like I got 1 to 2 more sessions with Honda, then I want to give Honda a break too. I don't want to keep playing with Honda, getting tired of it, you know? But the good news is, once I get multiple characters up to master, Now I can alternate between them, and I can try to learn the game at high level, you know, and I'll have variety in doing it. You know, right now I only have one character in Master, Blanca. And I don't want to sit around playing Blanca all day. I'm bored of it. I want to mix it up and do variety. So that's what I'm going to do. All right? But don't worry. This is not a game that I'm dropping at any point. I love the game. By the way, I played the Mortal Kombat 1 beta. I was not impressed. It was laggy as shit, and I didn't like the competitive gameplay elements. It seemed very simplistic and not very interesting to me. So likely when Mortal Kombat 1 comes out, I'll play the story. I'll try the offline mode. I know there's a new mode. I'll probably do that. I'll probably give it a shot, playing a little bit of online play, and I doubt I'm going to play it that long. I'm being honest, you know. I don't think it's my kind of game. I think it's fun to mess around with, but I think Street Fighter is my forte. So I think that that's the game I'm going to stick with, and I'll probably, you know, play more characters and try to get more variety. We got Aki coming out the end of the month, September 27th. Brand new character type. We'll see how she plays. Maybe she'll be interesting, you know. I don't know. Find out. But, you know, that's the deal. So I hope that explains. Okay? Alright. Alright, so, cool. That's what I got for shoutouts so far. Guys, it would be great if you could support my streams today. Yesterday was outstanding. It would be great to keep that momentum going with Starfield today. So please support the streams if you can. Well, 1 second. I'm just going to put these papers over here. Then we're going to open it up to a little bit of Q&A. Okay? I got to put my newsroom reports back over on my desk. It looks like someone tipped me $1, but it got frozen. Yeah. Someone tipped me $1, but it got frozen for 4 to 7 days. Let's see who it was. It was an anonymous dollar tipper. An anonymous dollar tipper tipped me, and it says it's getting frozen for 4 to 7 days for some reason. So whoever just tipped me $1, something's up with your payment method that PayPal isn't trusting it, and it's frozen for a week, just so you know. Okay. Still appreciate it, but since there's no guarantee I'm going to get it, I'm not going to count it for today. How do you get a channel unbanned? You email me at darksidephil@hotmail.com, and you tell me the situation, and you give me the address of your channel, and I'll check it out. Usually I'll give you an unban. How's Jasper doing today? He is good. This morning we had not only squirrels, we had a giant black raven in our backyard eating peanuts, and he got very excited, and the squirrels were like frolicking and chasing each other, and then Jasper lunged at the back door and basically like attacked the glass door as if he was going to pounce on them, which obviously he's not. The door is closed, but he got overexcited. It was pretty funny. No, I've never seen Jim Carrey in person. What's going on, Juan? Good to see you today. How are you doing? Jasper loves the idea of chasing the squirrels and observing the squirrels. Dr. Kinnison, I would not have any recommendations for you in Seattle. This place has changed dramatically since the COVID era. Sadly, the crime has increased dramatically. A lot of the businesses have moved or shut down. I couldn't even tell you. I haven't been to Seattle since 2018, so I don't know anything about it. I liked Pike Place Market. I always thought it was a nice place to go. A lot of local markets and a lot of seafood and stuff around there. If you go down to the waterfront, there's a cool aquarium. There's a cool Ferris wheel, a bunch of shopping. But again, that was before COVID. When COVID happened and all the protests and everything, things changed, crime increased. I don't know what it's like down there anymore. So you'd have to look into it for yourself. But that's the stuff that I liked many years ago. Oh, let's see here. I received a $5 tip from Canadian Kirk. He says, speaking of which, who are your favorite actors or actresses? My favorite actor is Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jim Carrey. I don't really have a favorite actress. I don't know. I don't really think about it that much. Like, I enjoy a lot of actors and actresses' work, but I'm not one of those people that, like, is a huge fan of a certain actor or actress or anything like that. Like, if you were to ask me in 1980s stuff, like, I love Bill Murray. I love Dan Aykroyd. I love Harrison Ford, right? Like people from that era, I really enjoy their work. Tim Curry, I think Tim Curry was always a genius when it came to timing and acting and stuff. Seriously. But, you know, that's the stuff from my era of the 80s and early 90s. You know, I don't really actively follow too much today. So, you know, back in the day, of course, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, you had Sylvester Stallone. These were like the action stars of the era back then. You know, they were hot shit. But I'm not really into it anymore, so. No, I've never ridden a bison. What on earth? Oh, yeah? Derek says Snake Eyes got first place. Nephew got third. Vizant got ninth. Using Blanca. Justin Wong placed 13th with Cammy on that Capcom Pro Tour a week or two ago. Awesome. That's really cool. One Button Dash is I used to love Mark Hamill, then I started following him on social media, and I hate him now. So here's the thing, and again, I say this all the time. There is a good reason why I don't do politics. You understand? A lot of these actors and actresses and people who are in the industry are very opinionated when it comes to politics. And so you follow them, and next thing you know, they're talking about politics constantly. And if you're not in agreement with their political stances, all of a sudden, you might start to not like that person, despite the fact you respect their work a ton. You may be like turned off to them now because of how they act outside of their work. So, you know, for me, the way I see it is, even if I don't necessarily agree on the stances of these people, I at least can respect, you know, their professional work. I try to separate the art from the artist, as they say. But at the same time, that's also why I stay away from politics at this point. I want nothing to do with saying something political, and then all of a sudden someone says, well, you know, I was your biggest fan for 15 years, but I don't agree on that political stance, therefore I can never watch you ever again, and I hate you. I think that's stupid. I'll be honest. I think that in life, you can agree to disagree, and you can respect people who even have very different opinions from you on issues. And you can still like that person for the things that they've done in life that you respect. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people aren't like that. To them, it's black and white. Either I like you or I hate you. Well, wait, what? If in life, all you have is I like you or I hate you, you're going to be very lonely. Because most people, you're not going to outright love or hate. You understand what I mean? Like, there's going to be things you like and you don't like about people. And the more you get to know a person, people are very nuanced, they're very complex, many layers like an onion, right? You got to learn that. It's not just, oh, well, everything we are in agree with or we hate each other. That's fucking stupid, very immature mentality. But sadly, there's a lot of people who are adults who act like small kids. They never grew up. They never learned this shit. And so they act like that. So for me, you know, well, Mark Hamill, maybe I don't agree with every political thing he says, but I love him as Luke. I love him as the Joker in all the things he's voice acted. And I can still like that. You see? Well, Sarah, now here you go, and here's where you get into the nitty-gritty of it. Sarah says, do you think it's possible to respect someone that supports racist or homophobic politics? And here's where we get into it, right? Because you're right. There could be issues that you determine are so divisive that you just can't forgive someone, right? Like, you guys know me. I've always said, I feel that it doesn't matter what your gender, your sexuality, whatever your preference is, you should still be able to get married. Like, I believe that. I think that everyone has a right to be happy, and everyone has a right to live their life in happiness, and should be able to have this union. I don't see the reason why you can't get married just because you're gay or you're trans. I don't get that. And a lot of people are like, oh no, marriage is just a man and a woman, okay? That's just one philosophy that I've had. And I've always said that, by the way. That's not something new. I've always said that publicly, okay? But that's one of the things. What if someone says, well, no, I firmly believe that marriage is just between a man and a woman. Well, I say, well, are you homophobic? Well, are they? I don't know. That's a subjective question. Do you find that homophobic if someone staunchly believes that marriage should only be between a man and a woman, right? So now, if someone said that publicly, does that mean you can no longer respect anything they've ever done? Do you hate them as an actor? Do you hate them as a person? You know, it's crazy. That's how society is, right? That sadly, you can't just disagree with someone, but then continue to respect them for what you liked them for to begin with, right? What do you like chicken sandwiches? I love chicken sandwiches. I think they're amazing. You want to know one of the best chicken sandwiches out there you can get is from Chick-fil-A. But did you know that Chick-fil-A is also a company that's based in a lot of religion? So if you're anti-religious, does that mean you can never eat at Chick-fil-A? But the chicken sandwich is amazing. Why don't you just fucking go there and eat the sandwich and say fuck the politics and religious bullshit and just eat the sandwich, right? But people can't seem to separate these things. Everything has to be intertwined constantly, and that's, you know, it's just crazy. That's true. Dabhan says Papa John's turned out to be a pretty bad racist. Do we all hate pizza now? Well, you know what happened? They kicked him out of the company. And he was the spokesperson for the company. And then they exposed all this racist shit that he was saying to people behind the scenes. And then they kicked him out of the company. And now he's pissed because now basically he has no control over the company at all. And he's all upset. And he even slams them. Oh, this pizza sucks now. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it's a pretty interesting discussion. But like I said, this is why I have not delved into that realm yet. I think one day I will. I think it's inevitable that there's going to be a day when, and it will be separate. I'm not going to do it on DSP Gaming or anything like that. Maybe I'll even make a new channel for it. All right? But I think it's inevitable that there's going to be a day when I'm going to end up doing some kind of commentary, right? That it's not just about games. That it ends up being about other things. And like I've told you guys, I'm not left and I'm not right. I'm kind of in the middle. And I'm not, here's the other thing. I'm not religious, and I'm not anti-religious either. I'm also kind of in the middle. So I'm kind of in the middle of everything here. And I try to see things from a neutral perspective to try to understand both sides of an argument. So I think that I could probably bring some uniqueness to discussions about this stuff. The problem is, people don't want that today. Today, people want either you're with me or you're against me. You understand? Like, we are so polarized right now in the United States on everything. That it's like either you are pure this way or pure that way, and if you're not in agreement with me, you're my enemy. That's ridiculous. I can't believe there's so many people like that. I mean, who, you're just going to hate everyone? It's ridiculous. That's like a 4-year-old acts like that. And we have grown adults. We have people in our government running things that fucking act like this. It's insane that that's how our world is right now. So anyway, we'll see what happens in the future. Like I said, eventually I will probably do stuff in that regard, but we're not going there anytime soon. As I get older, that's something to move to. That's the cool thing about me being a variety creator, is that I never run out of content. Like, really, I will never run out of content. And I will never have to be toxic. Unlike all these other shitbags who don't know how to have an intelligent discussion or entertain anyone. Instead, all they can do is make fun of people. I don't have to be like that. I actually can have a variety of content. And there's tons of shit that I haven't even delved into yet that we could definitely talk about in the future, and I'd be happy to, but let's wait a while. I'm only in my early 40s. I got a long ways to go on this planet, so let's get to that stuff when we get to it, okay? Okay. I received a $2 tip from Big Larry Gaming. I'm hoping now that you got Blanca to master, you'll bring back Lily. I've been enjoying her a lot lately. I got her up to mid-gold. She seems to have a good amount of options to get out of sticky situations. Have a great stream. Thank you. Yes, Lily and Luke will be my next focus. As it's been, you know, Blanca and Honda. Once Honda's at master, I think now it's going to be Lily and Luke for a bit to focus on and try to get better with. I never was great level with those. Like, I never even got Lily to Diamond on Xbox. I did get Luke because Luke, my placement matches put me into Diamond. All right? So I guess we'll see what happens. Juan, enjoy the movie The Meg 2. I don't know why you're telling me you're watching it. I don't know much about it. I didn't see the first one. But I hope you like it. All right, guys. Any other questions? Any other things to talk about before we begin with Starfield today? Comment Frenzy says, on that note, do you think people have lost their sense of humor? Feels like jokes that were okay not too long ago are now taboo. Now, here's what's happened. Okay? People now are out to find something to be outraged about. That's what it is. people aren't out to have a good time in life. It's like everyone needs to have a reason to be upset so that they can complain and have their voice be heard. Like, it's really important to be able to air your grievances to the world on social media and other places for some reason. So if you can find something to complain about and act like it's valid, that's what people are dying for now, right? Oh my God, I was so wronged because someone made a joke about something. Like, oh, it really hurt me so deeply. I'm sure it did. I'm sure. If someone made a joke, a joke about you, a simple joke, and the one joke decimated you so much that you can't go on living, perhaps you should see a psychiatrist, okay? However, the flip side of that is, in some circles like YouTube, the jokes have gone too far. If you are systematically harassing and or defaming someone, and it's become a popular thing to do that, right? And it's just well accepted. Oh, just keep piling on someone. And now that person is having a hard time living because you fucked with them so much. That's different. You see, there's a big difference. There's the whiners on social media who every little tiny thing is the end of the world, and so everything offends them, versus people who are legitimately getting destroyed and bullied online, and it seems like there's no protection or recourse against it because of the toxic nature of the internet and the fact that places like YouTube and Twitch and other places will not stand up to that kind of behavior unless they get sued. So it goes both ways. It does. It absolutely goes both ways. It's to what extent, and again, the question would be, to what extent is it allowed? To what extent would it be, fair? I've always been one to divvy out jokes, but also I could take a joke. The problem is when the entire existence of people on YouTube is to make my life a joke and basically make shit up about me, and then people believe it because they're stupid. That's a problem, you see? But, we could talk about this all day. I don't particularly feel like talking about it for the whole podcast. So, okay. Hello, Mr. Puzzles. How's it going? Have I ever thought about running for president? Well, I'm starting to get to the age where I'd be eligible, right? Like, I was too young. It seems like you got to be in your earliest 40s or 50s to try to run for president. No one would take you seriously. So we'll have to see. If it's like I said, if Donald Trump could be elected president, I certainly could be elected president. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It could. He's done way worse things than I ever have, and he got elected, so I absolutely could become president. The question is, do I want to? Because it is public service, you understand that. It's actually, you're a servant to the people. Do I want to serve the American people? I don't know. Gotta think about that. Okay. There was something I was gonna say, and I had a funny picture of me running for president 4 years ago. It was a joke, but I don't know where it is. I have it somewhere on my computer. I'd have to find it. I totally forgot where I put it. Do I think YouTube and Twitch streamers could unionize and stand up to YouTube and Twitch? No. I don't think that would work. I think that sadly, with Twitch is owned by Amazon. With YouTube, it's owned by Google. Like, I don't think they care. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they care. I think before they would make any concessions, they would shut down. I'm serious. I think they would just say, fuck it, and just close the company before they would care. That's my feeling anyway. When you're talking about two of the biggest companies on the planet who are so filthy rich, rolling in money, I don't think that they answer to anyone. They feel like, we don't have to improve. I mean, put it this way, all right? Twitch has not increased the bit rate that you can stream at in 7 years? So you cannot even stream at 1080p 60 frames per second on Twitch smoothly. You can't, unless you're a streamer that gets special permission or is allowed to. The limitations, what is it, 3,500 kilobits per second? You can't even do 1080p 60 frames. That's supposed to be a website that the whole site is based on high-end video and gameplay, and you can't even do that. If they don't care about that, do you really think they give two fucks about anything else? They don't care about anything. All they care about is the money rolling in. They don't have to listen to anyone. They don't. Ryan, I'm not starting gameplay later and later. I don't know what you're talking about. Typically, my podcast runs till around 12:30, 12:40. And then we take a little break, and then we get started by 1. It's 3 hours of gameplay. I have no idea what you're talking about. See you tomorrow, Derek. Comment Frenzy says, I think you're more agreeable than most people in politics. All right, Comment, do you want to know the truth? All right, here's the deal. If I were to become a politician, I would do it because I actually want to help people. And that's anti-politics in the United States. In the United States, it's always people trying to get ahead. If you take a look at the people we have in Congress and the House, you know, the House and even the people in the fucking judicial branch, even the president, they're all out for themselves. They're not looking out for the best of the people. They don't. They get into their positions of power, and then they immediately start taking in lobbying contracts, payments, fucking paid vacations, all kinds of shit to give out the government rulings that these companies and entities want. We have a corrupted government system in the United States, and it's been like this for ages, all right? And every once in a while, you get someone in there who actually tried to end that or stop it. You get on one side of the political spectrum, right? You had, oh God, I'm having a brain fart. The guy from Arkansas, the military guy, he just passed away a few years ago from a brain tumor, I believe. I can't believe I'm having, God, I'm having a brain fart. I can't believe his name because I respected the guy so much. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? You guys are going to tell me his name in a minute. I know you are. But anyway. You had him on one side, the Republican side. John McCain, thank you so much. John McCain on the one side. And on the other side, you had Bernie Sanders. Completely different philosophies on politics. But both of them want to end the whole, everyone in Washington is paid off. They want to end that completely. They always wanted to stop the lobbying because they wanted people to actually be public servants, okay? Which we don't have. We're supposed to have public servants in office to serve the people, and they don't do that. They only do what's in their own best interests all the time. It was Arizona, excuse me. That's why people were confused. I said Arkansas. It was Arizona that John McCain was from. Thank you. Anyway, yeah, like, that's the thing. If I were to become a politician, I would actually do it for the people. Because guess what? Take a look at me now as a YouTuber. Do I take any payoffs? Do I have any paid product placements? Do I do any shilling? I have all these opportunities to get paid, and I always turn them down because I want to be true to myself. I want to put out honest, genuine content that's meaningful for my audience, and I curate that style of content for them, and they support it. That's who I am as a person. My morals control who I am. I wouldn't feel good about making content that was fake to make money. You understand? So if I were to become a politician, I would do work for the people. But would I be successful? Because here's the problem with American politics. You need to raise money to be eligible. You have to have a campaign. Where's the money going to come from? If I'm not kissing ass so that companies will finance my campaign, how would I ever get elected? That's the problem with American politics right now. You can't even be eligible unless you have tons of money to run a campaign, right? And if no one heard of you, no one can vote for you. Yeah. Get Elon to start a super PAC for me. Oh, God. Oh. Anyway. We've had a little bit of a political discussion today, but we won't delve it much deeper. I promise you. All right. Arthur keeps asking me, will I ever play with Master Blanca again? Will I ever play with my Master level Blanca again in Street Fighter 6? Yes. Where the hell is it? Hold on. There it is. I couldn't find it to click on it. Okay. Yes. No, no trips or vacations in the future. Nothing planned right now. Nope. Okay. All right, guys. Last chance for you to ask a question or contribute before I take a brief break to use the restroom, and then we jump into Starfield. Okay. Okay. One Button Dash is something about MK1 I'm disappointed with. The cameo cast is small. I was under the impression it would be huge like Marvel vs. Capcom 1. How many is it? I don't even know. Again, I haven't really been following the game that much. I'll be honest. I played the beta. It turned me off. Like, the graphics weren't as good as Street Fighter 6. The connections were abysmally bad compared to Street Fighter 6. And the gameplay elements just seem so simplistic. And just high-low mix-up, have a cameo go out there and fuck you up with a combo. Okay, great. So it's like Simpleton's fucking fighting game. And it's just not very fun to me with that amount of lag. So I didn't really like it that much. I think, like I said, I'll probably do the story with the offline content. I'll dabble in a little bit of online, but ultimately I'm going to end up craving Street Fighter over it. So what's my thoughts about returning to Elden Ring? We're going to go back eventually. It's just no rush. Like, I played it a bunch, right? It was like a month and a half, 2 months we played it. Got really good with my Magic build. Then new releases started coming out. Those took priority. And we just never got back to it. But, you know, it would be great to jump back in at some point when there's downtime. Truth Seeker did a super chat, says, didn't you take the vaccine, but you don't trust the government? Huh? So, because I took a vaccine against a deadly virus that I didn't want to catch, nor did I want to spread it to other people, it means that I fully trust our government. Once again, as I stated, some people are black and white about everything, correct? Like, if you took a vaccine for COVID, that means you're a government shill. Huh? How do you even come to that connection without jumping so many huge conclusions and connections that don't exist? How do you get to that point? Like, where is your big whiteboard of conspiracies? How many pieces of twine do you have leading these like, what are you talking about? Not everyone's like you, just so you know. Not everyone has those kind of thoughts. Carlton Jr. says, I think both video game and subscription services may be dealing with strikes so they stop hiding revenue, view, and download numbers. You're right. You absolutely could be right there. We have issues with transparency. That's true. RetroX says, if you want to know a lot about the world, to get your bearings, start a Freestar Collective faction quest line. You will go there during the main campaign. All right. All right, guys. I think it is time for us to say, let's adjourn the show. I got to use the restroom before we begin with Starfield. But thank you all. Great stream so far today. Chill vibes. Good discussion. And thank you for relaxing with me. Tomorrow, I'll have more to say about Starfield, I'm sure. And I thank you all, as usual. Thanks for watching the Level 1 Podcast. I'll see you tomorrow.